You can't even pick up your own clothes on the floor. These are the parents who ensure that our rooms are fine. Ours is to concentrate on academics. We eat in the dining hall they have cooked. You go to your room, it's clean. Yours is you and books alone. Don't have to be thinking, what am I going to eat? Do I have mayonnaise and onion? Thank you very much.
With the SABC News, and we're bringing you live visuals from Wits University. Dramatic scenes this morning. The Wits, Adam Habib, the Vice-Chancellor, saying that talks between students and management had basically failed. No consensus had been reached. Some of the students are saying something different, that there were just technical issues, and this was the groundwork for a planned General Assembly that was to take place at Wits that management said had been postponed. However, students have responded to that postponement, and they've in fact gathered under a huge marquee on the lawns, and they're saying that that General Assembly is going ahead. That's what you're seeing right now. They're holding their own meeting. They said earlier they would do that with or without the consent of management. Let's cross live to our reporter, Makeketla Moglabe at Wits University. What's happening on the ground?
A very good afternoon to you, Francis. Well, as you can see those pictures, students are saying that we are on our own going ahead with the General Assembly. This is a General Assembly that was highly anticipated countrywide. Of course, we know that the management actually said earlier on that they are calling off this particular General Assembly due to some security concerns, and saying that they did fail to actually reach a consensus with the students. But we just tried to actually get one of the academics out of that particular event that's underway right now, Francis. We just want to hear that voice from them, and we understand that they're here to support the students. And I'm now joined by one of the lecturers in the School of Arts, Film and Television. Sir, thanks so much for your time. We understand that you are also actually pledging your support to the students here. What is your stand as a lecturer here?
Well, firstly, I want to say that I will speak for myself, and obviously can't speak for the whole student or for the whole student and lecturing body. But being as a person here, I'm actually excited with the energies that go around here on campus, and how the talks are starting to become more clear the talks at least between the academics and the students. I think it's it's a very important moment where we must start these conversations more with the student body. For the rest, we had this morning we had a picket here on the Great Hall steps with all the concerned academics, not all the concerned, but the academics who could be here as an advance to the General Assembly, which was planned. We had boards advocating our concerns and our beliefs, what we think is also important for the university. We completely understand that there is no lecturing without students, and students need lecturers in order to get their education. But without the other is not possible. And we also feel, and I also feel, that the line of funding for higher education is becoming a real problem, and people are feeling that, and it's jeopardizing their future.
Okay, let's talk about the 3 week of shutdown. As a lecturer, I mean, I'm sure it has been confusing, it has been concerning for you. How far are you with work ahead of exams?
Yes, I think it was a very confusing time because we didn't know where we were going to. So the first 2 weeks were general closure. People mainly stayed home because it was closed. The third week became a bit more unclear. I mean, we were trying to get open, and I was here actually to also be here for the students who were coming to school and trying to get their education. But soon after Tuesday, we noticed that it was an impossibility and we couldn't be here on campus in a safe kind of manner.
In your view, the students' concerns, are they legitimate?
I'm fully behind the initial view of the student. You know, free education for people is very important. It's the only way to become economically viable in this world. You know, and so therefore, education is like water, electricity, internet, another big one. It's important because it gives people a future. So therefore, these demands are very legit, and in its first instance, and in its basis, I'm definitely behind them. How they're going to be executed is obviously a second question. You know, obviously it has to be within a certain way that it's possible. But the demands now are, I think, legit because people have to make a fist. You know, if they don't, then they're not taken seriously. So therefore, I'm behind this first instance of protests and demonstrations. Hopefully, we can keep them all peacefully, and that's, for me, it's also a very important part of it.
So, going ahead, what do you expect to see happen? We understand that the council is going to have a meeting to decide whether the institution should be closed or open for the 2016 academic year. What do you expect to see happen?
Well, it's very difficult. I don't have a real expectation at this moment. It really depends on what agreements could be made, how government will come into the discussions, how open also the student body and how united the student body will appear for the in these discussions. You know, there's a lot of mediation is being going on, and the students hold their foot down and they say, no, we want free education now. That's their demand, and they don't want to be left in some kind of ambiguity where they are still promised something, basically like what happened last year, but it never really came to life. I'm sure the government has their trajectories in place, but they have to come forward and say, well, this is what we can promise you now. And as soon as that starts happening, I think the student body will also become much more collaborative with this whole situation.
How much of a load of work do you think is going to be there if this institution gets closed this year?
Yeah, it will be. I'm sure it will be disastrous in many cases. I mean, I'm teaching in the humanities section of this university, humanities faculty. For us, it's perhaps, and that's difficult to say, but perhaps it's not as stringent to be here in the coming 2 weeks as, for instance, for the health sciences and science. However, I do hope we can come to an agreement so we can continue the program as planned. And to be honest, personally, I wouldn't be against delaying or relaying the program into sort of early December, so moving exams a bit later. But that's, there's a lot of factors involved, and it's a difficult thing to just say, well, this should be the solution to this current problem, and to move exams backwards. It has a lot of implications.
Just finally, I know this is going to be very personal. 3 weeks of shutdown, and it may continue throughout this month. Are there any wage losses?
Any wage losses?
Yeah.
Not that I know of, but who knows?
Okay. Thanks so much for your time. Indeed, well, that's one of the academics here at Wits University showing their concern, of course, with regard.
And also those workers, we want them insourced. And what we have seen as a growing trend is the companies are now targeting the worker leaders, those who are brave enough and come forward to speak. They've been victimized and they are without jobs. So we want a reinstatement of our worker leaders who are now sitting with no work at home. And recently what has happened at the Matrix, the people were fired for eating a bun. And we want a reinstatement of those workers as well. Yeah, it's happening, for eating a bun at work. So, it's terrible. So, I'm going to leave it here, comrade. I hope the workers can also raise some of the other issues. Thank you, Amanda.
I will ask Hafela wa Mukhuku. He's a lecturer here. He wants to render a serious poem. Thank you. Amanda! Martha! Martha! Raithatuma Watumatumai! Raithatuma Resengatse! Raithatuma Watumatumai! Raithatuma Resengatse! Sale rebelaina le tsatsi buduta mokona le kolomena masikwari Rekela ratimela na mechana rala na rekoba koba na le makarito kala kere manchake le kaka kari koba Rekwa ke go khetsa makhele re ja di khoba no tala ya rekala wela tala ya rekala wela ra wela mudila ra wela na kanela ra
Yes,
Amandla. Comrades, we can't talk of decolonization without a cultural revolution. This is a cultural revolution. Black pride. We are rejecting whiteness. We are emancipating ourselves from mental slavery. Black pride. Setswana Sibunolo. Thank you very much. We are going to ask Nehal to also speak to the issues of workers. Amandla. Away two. Kina msebenzi. Comrades, when we converged on Tuesday and we knew that death was waiting for us, we were aware that there were dogs waiting for us with rubber bullets, tear gas, and stun grenades. And when the incoming VC said to me, "We're gonna need human shield," I said, "Comrade, we might not have a very healthy past, but today I'm going to invite my fellow comrades. We're going to the front, and we'll take the bullet on your behalf." Amanda. And it happened, comrade, as if they were joking. While we were marching slowly outside of the bridge, that white man, comrade, he hit the first stun grenade right here. And I thought he was kidding. I stood there. But he hit another three, and I started running. Amanda. So, comrades, we have a pledge, because the General Assembly was about to pledge. We are here on behalf of the workers, and we had hoped that today, following the longest mediation session, which ended this morning at 2 a.m. It ended at 2 p.m. It ended at 2 a.m. I think I got home at 2:45 this morning. And when students actually agreed, comrades, the students had agreed that this is going to happen. There was only one thing they requested, and I'll tell you why they requested this. The students said, at no stage ever since the protest started had management come to us to say, let's talk. And all the students requested was, we will have the assembly, we will have the march, but can we please be listened to? And we supported the students and said, let's have those three today, because the students want that interaction, because there are a lot of internal issues, comrades. Amanda. So obviously it fell on deaf ears. And you can see the levels of arrogance, they are very extreme. No one consulted with anyone. When they got the word that says the workers agreed with the students that there will be these three happening today, they issued an email in the morning. We were shocked. We were shocked because it looks like it's only about them and not about the students. So, here is the pledge, comrade. We now, on behalf of our members and workers at the university, address you not only as staff, but as parents and students ourselves. We solemnly pledge and commit ourselves today to the realization of free education now. We commit to holding ourselves and the university leadership accountable in making this a reality through concrete steps. Our goal is the same, a transformed, decolonized, free education now. We include in our commitment the elimination of outsourcing and working towards a workplace where every person is afforded the dignity and the rights of our Constitution, irrespective irrespective of class, gender, or race. So, comrades, that is where our pledge ends. But comrades, now I like singing.
Bringing you scenes live from Wits University, where the General Assembly that was planned has been postponed, but the marquee was set up. Students descended on it and are holding their own assembly of sorts right now, explaining why there was no consensus reached with management, why that full General Assembly did not go ahead. From the students' perspective, they say Wits dug in its heels and would not hear the concerns of students. From Wits management, we hear something different, that the students were quite intractable and would not, among other things, agree to the opening of the university on Monday. Now, students of the Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University supporting the Fees Must Fall movement are protesting on the North Campus of the institution in Port Elizabeth. They're unhappy about the university's plans to resume its academic program on Monday without engaging them on the issue. The group of students are blocking the entry to the campus. A large police contingent is keeping a close watch. The students have vowed to prevent any reopening.
We are shocked. We received the news that NNMU is opening on Monday without any consultation with us.
Comrades, that was now. We are now going to the last item, and then we will open the floor. This is a dialogue. That's what the former Vice Chancellor ran away from. That man is a bully. That man is a dictator. When you listen to him, it's I did this, I called them, I. That's him. Comrades, our very own Dr. Residency. When we were fighting, he was doctor. When he left here after fighting, he left with his professorship. He's now Professor Residency. When he went to the University of Cape Town, he didn't go there and insult the revolution. He continued. He carried the mandate from here. He shook whiteness there. He was in shock. Amandla! 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 Long live the spirit of Solomon Matangu. Long live! Long live the spirit of Solomon Matangu. Long live! Long live the spirit of Amanka Cabral. Long live! Long live the spirit of Eduardo Mondlane. Long live! Long live the spirit of Mwalimu Nyerere. Long live! Amandla! Fellow black people, I thank you very much for this opportunity to converse with you about the experiences of black people in white institutions. You perhaps think that you know it being at Wits and Wits being a white institution. I want to bring you an experience from a thoroughgoing white institution called University of Cape Town. If you think that you have encountered whiteness at Wits, you only need to go to the University of Cape Town to know the arrogance and brutality of whiteness. In this country, black people constitute 86% of the population. At UCT, black South Africans constitute only 19% of the student population. That's a university in South Africa in 2016, where black people, who, as we've said, constitute 86% of the population, there they only constitute 19%. Now there is a reason why UCT has maintained this. It's the same reason that Wits maintains whiteness in another form. It is that what has happened in South Africa, the task of intellectual production and the task of thinking has been made an exclusive preserve of white people. So that every time these institutions have to make an appointment, white people in one swan song sing and say that, but there are no black South Africans applying. So if UCT is not producing them, if Wits is not producing them, who has the responsibility to? So there is a deliberate project by these institutions to keep us out of the task of thinking and intellectual production, so that even our lives, our black lives, can get written about by white academics. And in that process, so they can turn our suffering and our existential misery into a commodity. Because what happens when they write about us, all kinds of things about us, Deep Sleuth, all kinds of books they write about black people, they then get promoted. But those about whom they are writing remain in their misery and squalor. So it means that our misery and squalor is a platform or is a step ladder for white academics to rise through these institutions. But it is not only that they want to use our misery for their own promotion. It is also that because they are accustomed to a situation where black people are spoken about, where black people do not speak for themselves, but they are spoken about. When we try to decolonize the teaching in these institutions and in our classrooms and bring black voices into these classrooms, we are told by these white institutions that we were not teaching, but we were mobilizing. And so it happens that at UCT, I invite RMF comrades into my politics class. Now, what is politics? It is precisely what we're doing here. But because they want me to teach about Weber, Marx, and all other European men, when I invite RMF activists to come and enlighten students about the process and the task of decolonizing the academy, UCT then responds by slamming me with a warning letter, claiming that what I did amounted to dereliction of duty. Now the point is simply that these white institutions do not imagine or never prefigured a time when black academics would be standing in the classroom. That's the first problem. So I was told that that racist head of department called Anthony Butler, he claimed to have received complaints from students in my class. Now there's something I want to bring to the fore for you here. Why would a student in my class, when I'm present throughout, if he or she does not understand what is going on, why would the student jump me and go to speak to a white head of department? You know why? It is because I'm not real. I'm a proxy as a black academic standing in front of them. I'm transparent, they can see it through me. So they expect me to perform a certain role that otherwise appropriately belongs to a white person. And so what I had done was basically to refuse to perform that role as they had expected. And the white students who complained, knew very well that they wouldn't have to do any convincing, because as white people, as a white student talking to a white head of department, they are both agreed on the project of keeping black people out of the academy. So what is happening here is not just an incident, about relations between a junior academic and a senior academic. It is that these white institutions that have normalized a certain norm, that have made whiteness a norm, will do everything possible to ensure that they defend that norm. And white people do not need a mass meeting. They do not need a workshop to convince each other. The project is common to them. They all subscribe to it. So for us, when we encounter them or when we confront whiteness, we confront an institution that also has agents. Between the institutional culture and the institution and these agents, there is unanimity on what needs to be done. It is precisely that we have to disrupt. The task of decolonizing the higher education institutions in this country, the task of decolonizing the curriculum in this country, simply means that we have to break this unholy alliance between white academics and white institutions. We have to remind them that these institutions are funded by the taxes that are paid by the poor black people in this country. It is our mothers and our fathers who every day pay VAT that sustain these institutions. These institutions are a common good. So they must behave in a manner that is reflective of the aspirations of this country. So why is it that these institutions simply refuse to do a simple thing? I would have expected vice chancellors in this country to say that it seems like society has moved ahead of us. Yes. It seems like students in South Africa have diagnosed the problems of this country better than we have done. Yes. So let us simply join forces with them and make this a society where we can all go happy. But for some inexplicable reason, Max Price at UCT, Habib Adam at Wits, and other vice chancellors have taken on a role that does not belong to them. Why are you defending government? You are not government. Simply step aside if it's hard to join us and say that government provide us with resources so that we can educate the nation. Now you have professors who head these institutions who supposedly are an epitome of thinking, from whom we must see creativity. And they are very loud when they have to criticize government for its intellectual poverty. They are very loud when they have to point the intellectual poverty of the government. But in the way in which they have responded to genuine protests, we haven't seen any difference between them and this anti-black government that we have. So when they criticize criticize government when it responds violently to service delivery protests. What is different between that and what they are doing? So it means that if this country has a leadership problem, that leadership problem is not confined to the political realm. These institutions themselves are settled by a serious problem of leadership crisis. We need at the head of these institutions people who can display capability for thought. People who can display capability for creatively imagining a different society than the unjust society that we live in today. Now, it would seem to me that unfortunately there is no difference, as we've said, between the anti-black government we have and the heads of these institutions, the professors who are supposed to be, the epitome of thinking, because they respond with violence also when we protest. It means that they agree with government that the only way in which you can converse with black people is through violence because they are objects. Now, it's been centuries since discourse constructed us as black people, as people who are available for all kinds of dispensability. You can dispense with black people, you shoot 36 of them or 39 of them in Marikana and life moves on. Because black people are many and dispensable. You shoot them in the institutions of higher learning and life continues. They must just realize that at the base of our struggles, we are asking for a simple thing. We also want to be human. Just as it is that if those 36 miners were white, we know what would have happened. We also know that if many of the students who are protesting, if they were white, we would have seen this police brutality that we are seeing. The simple reason why that has not happened is because we are not considered human. So at the heart of our struggles, we want to be human in our own country. We haven't gone to any other person's country to ask for this. We are asking for it in our own country. What is justice then if it's not that? So, as we continue with these struggles, I think that we can borrow a leaf from those who have struggled before us. In Tanzania, when Mwalimu Nyerere led the people of Tanzania, he insisted that freedom was going to be meaningless unless it was freedom accompanied by education. He insisted that freedom was going to be empty if freedom was not accompanied by work. So the Tanzanians declared freedom and work, freedom and education, freedom and wealth, freedom and culture as the cardinal principles of their struggle. We want to be a cultured people. It can't be that in a country where we are a majority, our cultures anywhere in the program appear somewhere towards the end. It's one rendition. And then after that we return to the norm of whiteness. It must be the other way around. Whiteness must feature as a footnote in our lives. It has been too long. It has been too long with us going through an education that alienates us from our languages. It's been too long that we've gone through an education system that alienates us from our people. It's been too long that we've gone through an education system that alienates us from our cultures, such that when we've graduated at Wits at UCT, for no reason but because we hold that piece of paper that certifies us as people who've gone through Western education, we then think that we have a license to speak ill of our cultures. We then begin to speak ill of those we've left behind. We say they have not evolved, they are not modern enough. These are generations that brought us up. These are generations that make it possible for us to be where we are. All of a sudden, when we've gone through Wits and UCT, we think that they are backward. So we want an education system that does not suggest that you have to come into Wits from Alex, from Soweto, but when you live here, you go to the white suburbs. You leave behind your own people. When you go to the white suburbs, whose problems are you going to solve? White people's problems? They don't have problems. So we want an education system that will infuse us with enthusiasm and energy to go back to Soweto, to Alex, to resolve problems that we left behind there. Because there will be something wrong when at the end of your 4-year degree at Wits at UCT, you begin to think that that kind of existence is not fit for you. If it's not fit for you, who is it fit for? It means that if you say it's not fit for you, there are black people that should go through that existence, but not you. What distinguishes you from those people? It is that you aspire to whiteness. But we know very well that it doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter what effort you put in. Whiteness will always elude you. At an appropriate moment, white people will remind you that you are trying so hard. At an appropriate moment, white people are going to say to you, why is it that black people, but I don't mean you, I mean black people. And so we must not forsake our people. We must remain one with our people. We must never forsake our cultures and begin to speak ill of our culture. We must end this education. Black people in this country have no wealth. You know the only wealth they have? It's you and I. We provide them with the only hope and possibility. If we let them down, no one else is going to help them out of this misery. I thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you once again for speaking to us. You know, because these walls here, universities from their inceptions, they were never meant for us. They are a colony. When you come here, you are colonized again. By the time you live here, you have forgotten who you are. By the time you live here, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? That's the danger of this space. Some of us who were lucky and we went to white schools, we had to first reject the language and the accent and decolonize ourselves. When we came to this space, we rejected, you know what I'm saying? We rejected that. That was the process. It's a process of accepting blackness and who you are. We refused the assimilation. Sometimes when I tell people the school I went to, are lying. You can't be speaking like this. Then I leave them like that. Thank you very much, Professor Shah. We are going to give our very own Catherine to read some of the demands that were formulated, and the incoming president will speak after, and then we will allow the House to speak to the demand, add to the demand, speak of black pain. Here there is no censorship. You speak from the heart. There is no censorship. And we would also like to speak to the progressive white professors. Because there are progressive white professors. And we say to them, thank you very much, and preach the gospel of being progressive. We are not here, we are not against white people. We are just for blackness. We are just pushing black power as well. Only nervous white people will be uncomfortable in this gathering. But the progressive white people, they understand the language we speak. We are against white supremacy and black inferiority. That's all we are doing here. We are not undermining whiteness, but we are pushing for black superiority to say hak. Comrades, we had invited Umama Winnie to come here and address us. We received a call that her health doesn't allow. When she was on her way here, the evil forces, then her health degenerated. Winnie Mandela, Mama Wumkondo. Winnie Mandela, Mama Wumkondo. Winnie Mama.
internal demands and the external demands that the former VC Habib Adam ran away from when he was running away from this assembly. We must make it a very serious point that fees must fall is not only an intersectional movement, but we are very protective of our Mbokotos in this movement. We will not allow, under any circumstances, for any comedian, any radio host, or anyone to ridicule black bodies, black female bodies in this space. It cannot be allowed. We must be very clear to this man of Skumba, whatever his name is. He must understand that there's a reason why he's on radio, not TV. He must fix himself first. He must fix himself first. We will not allow any patriots who don't even have a sense of hygiene to ridicule the black bodies in this place. Comrades, this must fall is an intersectional movement that comprises of queer bodies, that comprises of anyone and everyone that deserves to be in the space and that believes in the call for free decolonized education. We will not allow our black sisters to be ridiculed when they decide to protest in an unconventional manner according to society. We are saying they're unconventional for you. They're aggressive for you. We are going to move forward in the way that we deem fit. If we want to run around Wits University and the country naked, we don't want to hear any PTR telling us otherwise. Hands off our bodies, comrades. I'm going to go into the list of demands now. Essentially, what had occurred was we had a list of internal demands and we had a list for external demands, so a national demands list, right? Where we tabled to the university how we would like them to become involved in the national plan for free decolonized education. So now, Lotata wenu, Bani Habib Adam. Essentially, ubalekela uba agaqondi. You know, all the Tetis Cross and Tetis Ven, I'm going to speak all of them. Right? Because this is a decolonial space. We're going to decolonize, even the announcements of demands must be decolonized. So what Siti ku Adam? What Adam? Siti ku ya Tonga, that man, Tonga no Tonga. Siti ku ya Siti ku ya Nansine. So internally, ne pakata pendling, endling yakho, ne ushushu ne yathi. Jonga tisicela uba ichaphi indlu. So bazulungisa kaloku yabo. Sithi kuyajonga iRes yase-PKV ne-EOH. Ufuna uyisusela ntoni? Uzababekaphi abantwana basusayo eno-Res? Sithi kuye ke uHabib sithi sithi thina awuzuyisusa i-PKV ne-EOH. We are not going to allow you to demolish this residence. Hayi ke athi lo bhuti. Athi ke lo bhuti hayi lojonga sisi. It's not a problem, that one. What else are the demands? City Kuyatonga, it's unacceptable. About 7,000 students are currently in financial debt, which means that they will not be able to write the exams. City Tinakuya, Haman Puti, Iti Kaususale, Indoni, Itet, Kauplere Itet, I Geneva Cafe, we're going to lose money. This you are losing money already right now. We're going to lose students, black bodies in this place. I'm not executing. I'm relaying the conversation to you. I can see in the city, okay, get Puti Habib Ejem. City, okay, Nanzaniak. City, Sifuna Uba Ninis join, you know, protest in song, Siamben song, ni apply for choose na constitutional court, you know, for class action suits, you know, against the government. Achi, a constitutional court. Teaching na Argenia ne porini. Where ni Rukanya ni sababu chuange court teaching. Ni court. Ikana ni na ni job Rukanya free decolonized education. Zero. Chairperson ya DVC zote hapa South Africa. Chira nikaye nichi durane o nichi tangana na next week. Niba buzo nikoba buzarine rubaye pasi bakana na bana bachiko. Okay, so I was saying since tla thoma ka di-national demands tsa rona gore re itse re batla eng sentle-sentle le gore re nyaka bjang ke tla thoma moo a ke fetsa fitlhelela moo ke tla bua ka di-internal demands and then re tla bulela ntlo gore e bue ra bona jaanong it notes this the Wits fees must fall movement demands we have one demand the fees must fall movement demands that the University of the Witwatersrand should support the national struggle for free decolonized education for all. Now, it seems like a very simple one demand, but it's got conditions attached to it. You know, T's and C's apply, VC. T's and C's apply. By support, what we mean is the university should officiate a shutdown until the government of South Africa makes not a commitment. We don't want commitments. We want it to be legislation that we have free decolonized education now. We want the university to commit to shut down until the government makes it legislation that we have free decolonized education. The same way they announced the passing of former President Nelson Mandela is the same way they will announce free decolonized education. The other condition that is attached to this is that the university and the Vice Chancellor should march with the Fees Must Fall movement to the provincial and national sites of government. If we say to you, Habibi, Molinding, Ariera, Aratsamaye, Ria Pitori, Ria National Treasury, Arabatukuta, Nye, Akikolukuya, Nye, Kitaba Mama, Ribata only copy. Free decolonized education. On top of that, another condition was that the university uses its position as chair of universities in South Africa to call on all vice chancellors to commit similarly to other and various campuses. Next price in Rensburg. We are going to be at the forefront with us when we march to our provincial and national sites. Legislation, government, legislation will make sure that we make it legislation that we have free decolonized education. So we put a clause, just an additional clause to the university to say, should the legislative and executive branches So essentially what we said was, should the legislative and executive branches of the government fail to deliver free decolonized education for all, the university will file a class action against the government at the Constitutional Court. So essentially, registration at the beginning of the year for maintenance and to pay the lecturers and so forth. We require an area Constitutional Court waiting increase our subsidies for universities so that students don't have to pay, for an example, international students don't have to pay a levy when they come and register at Wits, so that we can decrease the registration fee that we have at the moment. Hi, Rapaletse Habar. Habibi Bahan. The last condition that we have is that the university, as chair of universities of South Africa, should task all vice chancellors to do away with the levy instituted against international African students. So, masikhuluma ngale levy kahle la isuka khona ukuthi ama international students mabefika la Wits labo UCT babacela imali upfront levy, but manje inkinga ngale mali levy is that the state doesn't know ukuthi khona levy. It's not a legislative policy. It is, it's basically just the universities taking money from international students, right? So now we need to be able to deal with such things because we have all come to the agreement that we are all African, as Africa belongs to us. The same privileges that we have, we need to be able to afford our counterparts the same privilege. And the first steps to doing that is by removing these things of levy and the 75% upfront free payment that they cannot afford already. Some of them are coming from countries like Somalia where there aren't any universities. It's not like they want to be here or it's fun in South Africa, in South Africa. It's not about that. It's about the fact that they are also in a struggle of their own and we need to also be accommodative of that struggle. Amanda comrades. Let us not forget, comrades, that our internal demands are very important at the same time. Although we are waging a national struggle in solidarity and in alliance with other institutions around the country, we must also remember that we have to fix our own house internally. So as we're about to begin the discussion, comrades, we have already noted the internal demands and we have been circulating those internal demands around, but we need the final check from you as students. There might be things that leadership has missed, there might be things that are not added onto the list, or there might be things that need to be removed. That is the process that we are going to engage in robustly here. Essentially, since the university does not want to come down, since management does not want to come down, we are going to management via their TV screens, right? That's how we're going to get to them. So let the country not say that we are irrational. Let them not say that we do not want to engage. We are standing here saying we are engaging. Everyone is here. The bishops are here, the professors are here, people in government are here, but the university itself is not here. That should also bring to light this kind of seriousness that this institution has with regards to free decolonized education. Adam Abi prides himself in saying when he was a youth, right? I wonder what time that was. Uti, when he was part of the youth, he used to be part of protest and he used to be actively involved in the struggle. Now, when our VC, he speaks about how we need to check this man's degree. We also need to check to see if really he was an activist the way he champions himself to be. Because this is how this man is making it on TV and being a political analyst. Because he says, I was part of the revolution, I was protesting, ducking bullets, running stunt grenades. You know, drama, so Uti, I understand the call that the students are making. And we're saying to the Vice Chancellor, if you really understand that call, let us use your expertise. I don't know, now you have previous experience. Bring that experience here to the ground and let's move with you on that experience. Amanda, comrades, ours, comrades, is not to be deterred under any circumstances. It is very humbling. As I was sitting there at some point in time, I started crying, and I hope comrades didn't see me. But I started crying because I am humbled by not only the black love that is in this place, but also the black solidarity that is here. They will try and tire us out. Come Monday, we don't know what they have planned, and we don't care, basically, because ours is to move forward and to move forward in solidarity, comrades. We will be going to other institutions over the weekend to make sure that we coordinate with institutions like UPT, UT, Soshanguve, VUT. We are going to make it work, comrades. We are moving here. This is a revolution, and the revolution will not wait for Adam Abib to come down from his tower. Amanda.
Thank you very much, comrades. The Vice Chancellor, I don't know what's happening. Maybe there's a disease with this term of Vice Chancellor. It's disappeared here. Vice Chancellor, you must come here. Comrades, we can't not have the incoming SRC president speak. And I want to speak to this because, you know, if we're self-critiquing and we claim to be decolonial, even within our movement, we must unite all the time. It has taken us very long to unite. We fight, but at the end we remember that we are black first. And comrades, we have put political parties aside. We've been able to say, this is our generational mission. That's why in this campus, we are very alarmed when we hear that this party is hitting this party. Because that thing should not happen. People must engage. People must win ideas, not this thing of fighting. Equally, the incoming president is going to speak when people are hungry and tired. So I'm warning him not to get into a trap where he speaks and then suddenly people go. And it looks like blessings are coming. Rain is coming. Amanda. I see there's also the president in the presence of Advocate Dalimbo. I just want to acknowledge him in the room. Now I understand why the Vice Chancellor went out. He went to go fetch Advocate Dalimbo. Comrades, these are the parents, these are the members of society that have stood with us when the university persecuted us. That have stood with us when the university kicked us out of university. Today, I stand here in front of you as Vuyani Pambo, who has a lawyer. I can call someone who's a senior counsel. Never in my wet dreams did I think I would call an SC. I had never thought in my life I can say to advocate, there are students who are arrested, assist. You will say I'm in court and I say I don't care. I want those students not to sleep in jail. There has never been, at least to my knowledge, a student, whether from the PYA or from the EFF or non-partisan, who has slept at Hillbrook police station. Never. And none of those students took out money. You know that thing of money. restricts your brothers and sisters to enter this place. And we thank you very much for that, advocate. That is the kind of support that we need. The same way, at a certain point, I'm going to give a biblical analogy. When the Israelites had got into a certain part of their struggle, Moses had to go up on the mountain and pray for a new Joshua to emerge, to lead the children of Israelites. Now, once Joshua was leading the Israelites in the battlefield, Moses was up there praying. When his hands tired, the others would assist Moses to lift his hands up. And when that happened, the Israelites were winning in the battlefield. Now we're asking our parents to do the same. Don't be put against your children. We are asking you, and this assembly speaks to that. Some people say an assembly was postponed. Quite frankly, if you ask me, I'm very glad that Adam Habib showed his true colors, because people thought we were lying. Let us deal with the first myth. He says that we did not agree. If that was the case, I don't know, maybe Mukabo can explain. I don't know how much this tent costs. I don't know how much these chairs. I've never spoken in a PA system that is so powerful. I've never. This was organized by the university to show that the plans were in action, to prove that this thing was supposed to happen. There is a stage here. There is an emblem officiating that we are congregating by the law of the university. Then they decide to address us from 11th floor. So if you are still unsure whether or not this is an assembly, you are definitely in the right place. You are in the imbizo that was supposed to happen. The only thing that is happening is that Makwala Achechi. So comrades, I see that hunger has kicked in and that you are not cheering as much as you should be cheering. But I pray that you will cheer enough for leadership here, so that also when he speaks, the spirit comes out and he tells us the truth of what is happening in this university. Amanda, welcome on stage or on the mic, this person of Mukari. Amanda. Comrades, the president has asked me to bless him with a song. Long live the spirit of Kwame Nkrumah, long live. Long live the spirit of Julius Nyerere, long live. Long live the spirit of Patrice Lumumba, long live. Comrades, I call on all these names because Fees Must Fall has once again brought a smile upon them. Fees Must Fall is an umbrella body for black unity and resistance. Today, when we look at each other, we don't see young and old. We don't see Christian and otherwise. We don't see female and male. All we see is black people. And that is why this revolution is important. And that is why we must protect this revolution at all costs. This is the revolution that the black people of this country, from the ages of our forefathers who suffered from slavery, have been waiting for. This is the true freedom. And they are scared of this because they know that it's going to bring back our land. They are scared of this because they know that it's going to bring back power where it belongs, to the people. Comrades, I am very humbled and honored by your loyalty to this movement. And I am not here to speak long. Speakers have spoken. I would like to first acknowledge the presence of Bakamedi Waro, our bishops. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the academics. I would like to acknowledge the presence of the media and hope today they will repent and tell the truth. I would like to acknowledge the presence of our parents who have ensured that this day happens. The likes of Tatu Talumpofu, Tatum Seneke, and all others. Yesterday when we were in that meeting, I told them one thing, that I am a boy from the rural areas, and I was privileged enough to attend there's this congregation called Lekota La Mushat. That's why when I speak, I take off my head to show respect. To our parents who are here, who have been with us from day one till today, who have been hungry with us, who have been in the sun with us, who have ducked bullets with us, who have suffered from tear gas with us, we thank you very much. It's very humbling. To you, the students, the most important people of this university, if we were to leave today, that university won't be a university. To all of you, I would like to say Khotso. Comrades, I'm not here to speak. Speakers have spoken. I am only here to do one thing. I want to show them the power of this movement. I want to show them the power of black unity. We speak of decolonization. Today they will see a miracle through this Fees Must Fall. Today it will rain because of Fees Must Fall. We want to show them that Fees Must Fall is not only concerned with the state of the country on the political level, but is concerned with the state of the country all across. The drought that has been in this country for so many years will stop today. But before I do that, comrades, since this is a decolonial space, allow me to formally introduce myself to you. mina ni Defense okamkhani n'wana mongo wexitulu xa tipress Mhlokomane ni ndona nkelenge n'wana mampun'wana hi ku xidela matini va va xiteka exitulwini Comrades, I am very humbled by the black unity, the black love, and today we want to show them the power of our black God. Bishops, today the rain is going to rain. Comrades, allow me, comrades, to call up rain in an African way. Ula! 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 Thank you very much, President. This is the president, incoming SRC president, is our president. Thank you, President. Comrades, the assembly continues. Now, we had Amandla, the team of former black leaderships here. We were engaged in the negotiations, who met with the university trying to ensure that this process take place. They are here and the university is not here. All the team that was put into place is here. Only the university pulled out. They pulled out alone. They raised security threats. I don't know who would want to kill Habib Adam. And kill him for what? You know, some people, they think highly of themselves. What security threat will it be to Habib Adam? Self-importance. Comrades, I am going to allow the advocate, a former leader in this institution, to also assist us with the way forward legally, because we also look at the legal implications of this matter. We don't want to be found wanting. We first look at it legally, then we attack political, so that we know that we are clear. The road is clear, they won't try any shenanigans. Comrades, there is one thing that I would like also to emphasize here. The reason why we are pushing for the struggle for free decolonized education. We also want to empower the former Bantu education universities. There is no way in which Wits University will be glorified as a prestigious university when University of Limpopo is a ghost town. There is no way in which University of Cape Town will be glorified as Ivory Towers and Fort Hare is undermined. There is also no way in which University of Pretoria will be glorified and TUT is undermined because there are a lot of blacks there. We can't afford University of KwaZulu-Natal, Howard, to be glorified, and Mangosuthu there is also undermined. We are calling for restoration of the dignity of the Bantustan universities. We are saying to government, give the status of Wits University to TEFLOP. Give the status of Wits University to University of Venda. We are saying give the status of Wits University to Mangosuthu University, so that the ground is level, so that black intellectuals can go anywhere, so that we don't come here to sleep in toilets for better education. KZN people, there will be no reason to leave Gomashu to sleep in a toilet here. If Mangosuthu had the same status, people from Nobody, Lebuahomo, Tanini, Pelapela, there will be no reason to come here if University of Limpopo had the same status of teaching and learning and research the same way as University of Limpopo. People from Pinchwa, Kofimfaba, Misilisili, Matapiele, there will be no reason to come here because you would have went to Fort here if Fort here had the same status as Wits University. Why then does the black government continue to segregate black bright minds according to regionalism? Bantustan still exists in South Africa. While we talk of free education, we must also speak of the status of the former Bantustan universities. That's an urgent demand. And we expect academics, we expect journalists, when they interview the former communists, played with money, to explain why we still have TEFLOP, Univen, Fortier, Mangosuthu still having the status of being Bantustan universities. As Wits University will provide leadership where there is none. In this country, there is no leadership. That's why 17 universities are closed and it's business as usual. 17 institutions of higher learning are closed. There is cocktail parties. Parliament is operating as normal. People are doing as it pleases. They meet business people. There is no agents. The only thing that we are told, a certain Guatemandage yesterday, he said that free education is not possible. We are saying this is our response to him. Free education is very much possible. The only thing is that the government of the day must prioritize free education. You can't have 72 cabinet ministers. For what? Germany with a GDP 3 times that of ours, they have 17 cabinet ministers. South Africa, we have 72 useless bodies. You can't, as a country, prioritize a nuclear deal. There was no commission of a nuclear deal, but there is a commission for free education. It's a matter of priorities. The money is there. There is no commission aeroplanes, SAA. You invest in aeroplanes. Who is using the aeroplanes because we are poor? The reason the aeroplanes are not generating profit is because there are not enough black graduates who are going there to be skilled labor so that we can use the aeroplanes. Invest in education, then we will be able to use the aeroplanes. The government wants to start with something that they have to end with. Give us education. Then you say we have a lot of graduates. Graduates must travel. You stay in Joburg, you work in Cape Town, you stay in Joburg, you work in Colorado. Then we need aeroplanes. Now we want free education. Then we will talk about aeroplanes. It's a matter of priorities. We are going to demand free, quality, decolonized education because we can see that it is very much possible. There's only a lack of political will. South Africa, comrades, let me teach you a song. qina. Qina mfundi, qina. Qina msebenzi, qina. Maatla. Arona. Thank you very much, Program Director. Our Vice Chancellor in waiting, or is he Vice Chancellor now? Okay, and the other leaders, and you are all leaders here because you are students in this very, very important university. Amanda, our bishops, other stakeholders who are here, labor, academics, and the student leadership. First of all, I want to thank you for coming and gathering here today. The fact that you have spent a full day here shows that you regard the education of our children as very, very important. Amanda. Now, I said I just want to take you through a very short journey of how we got here to this assembly today. On Tuesday this week, when it became clear that there was a lot of trouble here on campus, some of the student leaders called us to come and assist as much as we can. In fact, when they called us, it was almost like a suicide mission, because they said the police are shooting us, please become our human shields. So I think that's why not many people came that day. But those of us who came found the situation very, very tense here. We met the students. I want to tell the story because it's very important on this question of violence. We met the students on the West Campus. I spoke to the students there for a few minutes. And I said what I'm repeating here. I said I'm not here wearing any political hat. I'm here as a concerned South African. I'm here as a former leader of this institution, as a student leader here. I was the president of the Black Student Society here in 1985 and 1986. The last time I addressed students in these library lawns was in 1986, before we were arrested during the state of emergency. And I came here in that capacity. In fact, just to give you perspective, in 1986, when we were given the list of general assemblies or university assemblies that took place in this university, I saw a list. It had 9 such assemblies. Then I thought I should remember these ones that happened in the mid-80s. And there was one which was held on the 18th of August, 1986. It was about detentions. And I was wondering, I said to some of my fellow leaders, why don't I remember this particular assembly? And somebody said, no, that's because that assembly was held for your release when you and other student leaders were in detention. So the culture of vibrant student activism on this campus is not something of today. It is something that started when some of us had required ministerial consent to be at this university, when this was supposed to be a so-called white university. And what we say is that the university must transform itself not just by the numbers of the black students that are here, but by the culture, by shedding away the colonial culture of those days and making this place very accessible in various ways to black students, to poor students, and to students who come from rural areas. So what we are about here was that, what we were about this week was that when we joined the students, we then agreed shortly thereafter that we would come and congregate on the East Campus. We walked, some of you were there, we walked through the tunnel up here to come to this side of the campus. And as we were entering at the gate on Yale Road, the police shot us with rubber bullets, with stun grenades, and with tear gas, completely unprovoked. And I said that I came here so that I could see for myself, so that we don't get secondary accounts from the media. I was very angry. The following day, I saw a report that came, I think it was EWN, is the news agency, in here. And that report said that at such and such a time, Advocate Mpofu joined the students, they walked up the street, and then the students threw stones at the police, and then the police shot at the students. That is a lie. So that is what is happening. Millions of South Africans would like to believe that the people who are asking for free decolonized education is just a small bunch of hooligans. Well, first of all, by the numbers that are here, we can see that it's not a small number. Amanda. And by the discipline that we see here, we can see that we are also not hooligans. Amanda. And that is why when we intervened on Tuesday, I then came with my fellow leaders of the Black Student Society here, presidents and other comrades, and we joined the student leadership that was marching to Hillbrow Police Station for the release of the comrades who were arrested. After securing that arrest, we came here and we addressed the students and we said, we are going to play a role because you have requested us to do so. But unlike other mediators, we are not neutral. We are intervening on the side of the weak. We are intervening from the basis that free decolonized education is possible. As between the students and the administration, yes, we could play a neutral role to mediate. But on the key questions of what needs to be done, it was very important for us to put our colors to the mast. And that is why everything we did under the banner that free education is possible. Free education is possible. Free education is possible. When is it possible? Now. When is it possible? Now. Amantha. So when we then left the student gathering, we went directly to the 11th floor. And fortunately, I must tell you this, as it happened, the Friday before that Tuesday, I received a call from Professor Adam Habib. I was sitting in my office, minding my own business, and I got a phone call from him, and he said, I saw you were representing the students in court the other day. What can we do to assist the situation? So I came here, not just at the invitation of the student leaders, but also at the invitation of Professor Adam Habib. And that is why we felt emboldened to go to the 11th floor and say to him, the students, the biggest cry that we're hearing from the students is that you as their leader, you as the person who's their parent, in the place of their parents, are not visible. They only see you on television and they would like to talk to you. And we thought that was a reasonable demand. We then agreed that on Friday, which is today, a general assembly will be held today. Secondly, we said for us to maintain the issue of peace on campus, the police must leave campus. This is an academic place of learning and not a place for policemen whose academic credentials were not very sure of. As somebody said, we know how difficult it is to qualify to get to this university. You cannot qualify by just taking a tear gas canister and a rubber bulletin and then just walking here. So that was our first request to the admin. The police must leave campus. They said well, if the police are going to leave campus, then the students must undertake that there will be no violent protests. And I then told them the story that I told you, that the violent protest, as you call it, is the students, yes, they did throw stones at the police, I saw them, but they did so after they had been shot at without any reason. So I said, if you really want peace on campus, the only thing you have to do is to withdraw the police. They agreed to that. We then said, it is not possible. We need the next 48 hours so that we can foster dialogue on campus, building up towards the General Assembly. And for that to happen, the thing that makes the second thing, apart from the police presence, that is making the students to be agitated, is the fact that other people are in class. We then said, we asked for the 2 days, Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday, and today, the 3 days, that the academic program should be suspended. That was a very difficult negotiation, but eventually we managed to get the admin to agree to that. That opened the space for us to then build up to this day. What happened is that the student leadership, yesterday was a crunch day. I must here credit the university administration because we had very difficult discussions with them as to how the pledge what was supposed to be read here should read. And for example, their initial stance was that it must say that we support free education for the poor and the so-called missing middles. And we said, no, we must have a firm statement on free education. After a lot of discussion, we agreed that the wording was going to say we must achieve the goal of free, equality, free, quality, decolonized education, which is what the students wanted. After that, with the engagement, the so-called breakdown, don't listen to anything that you hear. The breakdown of what caused the General Assembly not to take place as was planned was on the simple issue that the student leadership was saying. We cannot have this General Assembly in the same colonial way that the other 9 that were held. We must have other constituencies that are going to speak, and what is more important, we must have dialogue. We must have an interactive session where we will be able to take some inputs from the floor. And to motivate that, they gave us a long list of problems that are afflicting this organization or this university, ranging from hunger of students, university residences that are about demolished, people who are not going to write their exams, all the issues that you know about. And they wanted those issues to be ventilated. The compromise from the student was that we should then have the General Assembly with all its formalities, but also have an imbizo which will deal with all these other issues. The other sticking point was the question of return to class on Monday. We had openly said that our intervention was meant for 2 things. One, to secure peace here and ensure that no student is killed, as I said. But secondly, to secure the 2016 academic year and save it and make sure that people will write their exams, that normal learning will continue. In other words, we were asking the students, what conditions will you put for us to be able to continue with the academic year? And they said it very loud and clear. We want a firm statement from the government on free, quality, decolonized education. We then said to the student leadership, okay, let us then find ways to ensure that there will be a return to class, and that return to class must be accompanied by the issues that we are putting on the table. And of course, they put other local issues that you know about. So there was consensus on the issue of free quality education. There was no consensus on the question of the format of the assembly. But that should not have been an insurmountable problem. We said, let us still have the assembly. Let the chancellor and the vice chancellor and all those people come here and face the students, talk to the students, and then the issue of Monday, we will be able to then have it as a second round negotiations with the student body. Well, to cut a long story short, this morning we were very disappointed when the announcement was made by the university that the General Assembly was postponed. I am now coming from a meeting of the mediating team made up of presidents of the Black Student Society, former presidents, and former SRC presidents. And when I received a call from our Vice Chancellor here, that the people are here, they are waiting, please come advocate. I then conferred with my colleagues there, and they asked me to come here so that I can explain how we got to the point where we are in. And the most heartening thing for us is your presence here. It shows that we were on the right track. It shows that the people of this university were hungry for dialogue and that they want their voices to be heard in Pretoria, where it matters the most. Because we believe, we are also not neutral on the following, that free education is possible because, as was said here previously, there are many alternatives. If a nation wants to educate its children, then it must make decisions and prioritize what is important to that nation. For this nation, is it more important that we should have a nuclear deal? For this nation, is it more important that we should spend 30 to 50 billion rand on corruption instead of providing for free education? For this nation, is it more important that we should have 9 provinces with 100 MECs, with 100 cars and bodyguards and all those things in administration than that we should provide for free education? The list is endless. There are so many alternatives that can be looked into if we are serious about the issue of free education. We said that the education crisis in this country did not start in 1994, did not start last year. It started in the 50s and even before that when Verwoerd introduced Bantu education, and some of us are products of that abhorrent system, so we know the pain that you feel. What we said is that for us, there can never be anything more important for the most unequal society in the world, such as South Africa, than the education of its young people. Because when we talk about empowerment, all these things, PEE, what, those are elastoplastic solutions. The real solution, if you want to empower black people, you must give them education. There cannot be anything but anything more important in South Africa than the provision of education. And that is the message that must be taken to Pretoria. That is the message that must be taken to President Zuma, to Minister Blades Demande, and all of them in the cabinet, that if they put their minds to it, and Minister Pravin Gordhan, they can come up with a solution to this issue. And what we are saying is that don't tell us about increasing the budget of NSFAS. There should be no NSFAS in the first place. The state should be providing free education for all. And even this story about no education for the poor, wara, is just a way of deviating. The fact of the matter is that we are not subsidizing the rich. The rich will be taxed more than the poor, obviously, and therefore they will still be paying for the education. But the education itself must be universally accessible and free for all and now. These are very, very simple principles. You don't need to be a genius to understand that this is one of the most urgent issues that is facing this country. And therefore, we are saying that as the mediators, we are still here, we are still available. We are glad that the students have called us. As it happens, Professor Habib also fielded a telephone call to the convener of our group, Tiago Musaneke. So, because we said this morning, we are available as the mediators, but we are not going to go and mediate until we know that the parties involved on the ground still want us. Now we know that we are still wanted because you called us here, and Habib has also called us. And therefore, we are ready to play whatever role you want us to play, but that role is subject to one principle and one principle only. This is not our struggle. This is your struggle. You will fight it the way you deem fit. We are not going to come here and lecture you how to do it. And we will facilitate when we are needed, but otherwise, thank you very much. We can go back to our offices and do what we do best, which is to work and do other things. But for as long as we are needed here, we are going to be here. We are not going to leave you alone to the dogs of war. We are not going to leave you alone to people who come here to put bullets on your bodies. We are just definitely going to be available to ensure that in the next few days the dialogue continues if the parties are willing to continue with the dialogue. And therefore we are thanking all our stakeholders who have made themselves available to say the struggle continues. We want free education, and free education is possible now, and we are not going to look back. Amanda! The way to free education! Free education! When is it possible? Mata! Thank you. Thank you, Advocate. We are now opening, before they take these things, because we have went on and on and on and on. Can those who want to brief just form a line, because there's one mic and we will then use the very same mic. Just form a line, come here and brief 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and then we move in that fashion. Let's just form a line. Let's just form a line. Go, yo. Just from a line, if you are covered, you are covered. Because you might find that the speakers here have already said everything that you wanted to say. But we can't suppress people's views. We want people to speak. All of them, no one will be suppressed, because it mustn't be agenda. If needs be, everyone must speak so that it is clear where we take the mandate. Thank you very much. 2 minutes, 1 minute, you see. Yeah.
I'm standing before you as the incoming SRC legal office. So that means I represent students who are suspended, students who are expelled, and students who might be charged if a decision is not taken in this house. So mine is simple. Since lecturers are here and a lot of stakeholders who hold decision power are here, I demand that they reinstate all the suspended students, all the expelled students must come back. And another demand is that all the students who fought back after they were provoked by police in this university for a genuine cause, they shouldn't be charged. And that means we want a blanket amnesty, not TRC, because we know that TRC doesn't work for everyone. And again, I also want to speak from a academic, because I'm also in an academic officer in subcom of this year. Last year, during the Face Must Fall, our lecturers here and the management, they understood that students were affected by the protest. Hence, they offered supplement exams throughout all faculties. This year, it should apply again. And then again, we understand that some of our students will be excluded. And one of the things that management did, which only applies to this year, is that those excluded students, if it happens that in a particular course there are more than 20 or 50 of them, that course is registered through Wits Plus. So we want that thing to apply again so that those students don't go home and waste another 2 years, but they just repeat and come back. That's it all. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker. You see, we are moving. We are doing well. Thank you very much.
This is just a question to the leadership. I've heard a lot about government and legislator, but I've heard minimum about what you guys are doing to address the private sector. Who benefits the most from graduates? And if you didn't know, with the private sector and all these graduate programs that they get a tax benefit to take students. It's tax-based benefits. So why not put it into legislation that they should be paying for students that they're going to take from at the end of the day? So I've heard nothing from the likes of ABSA. I mean, even the international companies, they come here and they poach us, pay us nothing, but nothing has been said about the private sector, so if we could get some clarification on that.
Thank you very much. We are doing well. Comrades, on the issue of private sector, we have said it over and over again that the issue of free education is not a burden of government alone. That's why we went to the Chamber of Mines. That's why we are still threatening to march to the JSE. That's why, comrades, we said that your TPS, your Anglo-America, your Sanlam, they looted our economy during apartheid. They are still looting it now. They are sucking our economy dry. We have said that. We have said that ABSA alone, through a research done by our very own Kaya Stone, can fund free education just alone with the money they steal, with the tax invasion. We have said that. We have also said Sanlam alone with the tax invasion and the money they steal and loot and suck black bodies, they can fund free education alone.
Sanbona, good job. Okay, a lot has been covered, actually. But there are other very important issues which have not been adequately addressed, I feel so. And just to start this thing off, it's the president said it, comrades, why they are not here, and why, no, the actual SABC president, he said it, why they are not here, and it's the reasons because this movement has capacity to bring back the land. And the significance why Bo Advocate Jalimpo decided to use a General Assembly as a tactic, it's the historical background of these things. When it happened during their times of detention. I must speak louder. Sure. So the point or the aim, of course, of a city like this, and it was very ambitious of us to think that Habib would come and corner himself here. But what it does is that society or society seeing universities as
mantra. Comrades, let us give our very own commissar an opportunity to clarify issues and dissect through the Leninist Marxist tools of analysis. Let us allow comrades. Here we will be enlightened here. Here there is serious enlightenment. So when we say a mantra, we call for your complete attention. Thank you very much.
Thanks, VC. Actually, when we call for a mantra, we call for power. And the reason that I feel very comfortable in this space and I'm excited because for me this is power. And people were worried that the assembly has certain rules and formalities and what to follow. At the end of the day, it will only defeat the student movement. Not understanding what we are doing here. And what we are doing here is we are actually rallying society around us as intellectuals. And we are rallying society, and we were saying the university must come and pledge because our mothers and fathers, when they see the university or Habib speaking, they listen. So we wanted the university to pledge to say society rally around the struggle not only for education, but this is a struggle for land. This is a struggle for the strategic resources of the country. And it is from that perspective that I have a problem with the funding model that we are going to take to Treasure or we are going to take to wherever. Because the main food behind these funding models from SARSCO, from even the one that we produce, is we are fighting for access. We are not necessarily fighting for education. We are not calling for the power to return to black people's hands. And I feel it's a very liberal issue to say that
comrades, they are going to take the speakers. So allow us, we don't have much. Within the next 10 minutes we will be done. So allow the commissar to sum up. Commissar, here you are protected.
No, in summer, depending on where your ideological orientation comes from and what we must just point out, comrades, is that we as students, when we joined this movement, we were not joining this movement to assimilate into this white, neoliberal, capitalist society, violent as it is already. And we are saying we want black academics in universities, we want black children in universities, we want, all these things. The issue of the private sector, that the private sector is the one that uses, it's a misinformation. Education is not about us going to work. Education is power. And for me, and we've seen these funding models before. These funding models have been implemented UK, Germany, what. And I'll tell you the long-term results. The working class suffers. You tax pensioners, you start taxing, and you start trying to remodel this unworkable capitalist state. And at the end of the day, the people are defeated. So the point that we... No, I'm concluding.
Allow the Commissar to conclude. Amanda, conclude, Commissar. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. My conclusion, comrades. No, my conclusion, comrades, is that instead of us marching to deliver some demands at the treasury, at the what, let's go and mobilize these universities during this weekend. You see the number that we have here. This is enough for a revolution. And this is enough.
Thank you, Commissar. You keep your hand. Commissar, thank you. We have heard the tools of analysis, the Leninist, Marxist tools, Fanonian, Sankarian tools of thank you very much.
Hi guys, I'm a student of the law school, and what I wanted to point out to everyone is that whenever there's a trend or whenever we have a head of school that seems to be progressive, we then get a management that sends out a witch hunt to remove that head of law school. And I want us to formulate a way in which we can protect the head of law school from the removal, suspensions, removals, and also there's a lot of secrecy that is happening within law school when we try and find out information about what is happening and we're not told about what is happening. My second point might not be favorable to the House, but I want to point out to the leaders here in front and to the House that we already said that this room is inclusive of everyone. We're no longer alienating anyone from this movement. However, we sit here with an SRC president with fantastic sex, whatever, but we do not recognize a sitting president of this university. We do not recognize Pendulum culture when she speaks. Can we please maintain high morale and high discipline? Allow her to finish speaking. Guys, please do not holler at me. I'm not a dog. Don't holler at me.
Manta. Comrades, let us allow the space to be conducive. Let us listen to all voices. Let us allow, whether we agree or we don't agree, let us allow. No, comrades, can the parents and everyone else join the line? Please, we'll allow you to speak what you want to tell us. We have been saying, probably here, there were people who were not happy with the things we were saying. Let us exercise tolerance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You posed the question of where she is. She's always here. But she cannot stand in front of you because you hollered her in the same manner in which you're howling at me right now.
Manda, comrades, we are going to be very quick. We will sum it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to finish in the next 10 minutes. Comrades, Amanda, high discipline. tolerance. Ours is to create a space, even to take those things that we wouldn't want to take. On the issue of the law school, that's when we talk of decolonization. The issue, the purging of the head of school and the deputy head of school. It speaks to the issue of black academics occupying senior positions. The head of school is being purged by the management of this university. I will be very quick, 30 seconds. Black students in that law school find it very hard to graduate. When you do second year, you will be held by law of contract. You will do contracts for 4 years. When you manage to skip contract, you will find criminal law infected here. Then you will find admin. You will find property and labor. Those are the subjects that are put in place to reduce black bodies. When students complained about the high failure in contract, the head of school investigated. While he was investigating, he discovered that there was something wrong. There was a target of black bodies. Then he was kicked out for investigating a high failure in this subject that I'm talking about. When the deputy head of school also did a follow-up, they said this one was not going to investigate without you. So it means we were together. We now want to investigate you for your involvement in the investigation. Now we are forcing you to take a forced leave because we want to investigate you. With these two black academics out of that law school, all of us as black law aspiring lawyers are naked.
There are three things I want to speak to. But firstly, before I get to that, I need to, because in the media we've been painted as these people who do not want education, who do not like education. I'm a UCT alumni, and I'm here at Wits. So if we did not value or did not like education, we wouldn't have done the things that I wouldn't have went all the way from a Mount Fremvus to a UCT to a Wits if I did not like education. So there are three things I want to speak to. There's a group of people, students who stood up, NMMU, Wits and other universities, and are saying we must go back to classes. And they are saying they are standing up for their right to education. And at the same time, they are saying they support our call for free education. Now, what I want to ask from them is, seeing that they have taken practical steps towards their right to education, which they believe in, what practical steps have they taken towards this belief of us, which they support? So before they tell us to go back to classes, they need to practically show us that they really support our call for free education and not do it in prison. Second thing, people keep asking us in the corners, how do we decolonize academia? Let's look at medical school, for instance. It is a lie that as Africans we never had a medical system before colonialism. The very same way that we are, and our sisters and our brothers are at medical schools studying European forms of medicine, it's the very same way that those white kids should be studying about Izangoma Zamuti. It's the very same way that those white people should be studying about our African ways of healing and medicine. Because because you cannot tell us that during the wars of Ushaka, there were no injuries, there were no fatalities. You need to ask, how are those situations handled without the modern medical system that we're currently studying? That's how we decolonize. Third thing, we need to speak to Blades Monday. And explain to him, firstly, the role of our education system in South Africa and how it's divided. Our education system is divided between the production of artisans and the production of thinkers. Now, when we say we want education to be free and we want government to fund our education, Lady Zimande and his people come to us and say, but there are also technicons. Not everyone must go to universities and pay those exorbitant prices. We want to say to you, when you give us that response, what you are actually saying is that labor is for the poor and thought is for the rich. Now this is because the majority of people that are going to technicons and colleges are the poor and black who do not afford these exorbitant charges of universities. Now, technicons and colleges are in charge of the production of skilled artisan part of our education system. We then come to the production of thinkers, which is what universities are for. And that is why Wits itself is converting to a postgraduate university, because universities are here to produce thinkers. So when Blade then tells us that we must go to technicons and colleges, what he's actually saying is that as black poor people, we are not capable of producing thought. So that's what we want to say to you. And lastly, also the economic implications of this. The law school has converted the law degree into a postgraduate degree. What does that mean? That means that as a black poor child, in order for me to become a lawyer, I first need to have an undergrad degree. Now, when education is commodified and it's expensive, how do you think a poor black child is going to afford an undergraduate in order for them to enroll at law school level? So when we speak about the internal things, we also need to speak about the fact that the decision for law school to convert that degree into a postgraduate degree compromises and segregates us poor black students who cannot afford an undergraduate degree in order to be a lawyer at Wits. So those are the things I want to speak. Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Mine is to actually highlight issues around residency specifically. I think our leaders here have forgotten that the university has decided not to only take PKV and EOH, but they are going to close down excellent residence as well. So it means that roughly next year we're going to have about 500 to 600 students which are actually homeless by actually taking out all of these reses. So they have told us that they will have an alternative to these. But what we want to say to them is that the alternative that you are currently organizing, take it and give it to students that are sleeping in the toilets, in the libraries, and you actually don't have a place to stay. The other issue that I want to highlight is that it's very important, and I think leadership should start really calling for Habib's resignation. And I will list a few reasons as to why Habib should resign. Habib should resign for one, when the so-called movement Take Wits Back decided to protest. We do not necessarily have a problem with people protesting, but we were able to find their communication between each other, and it was highly racist. We had white students saying that the police are not going to shoot us, we are white. We had white people saying we are eternally protected. So you can see, and then there is evidence. We have it. If anybody wants to see it, we will show it. There's evidence that management, especially Sharon Patel, organized media, organized also security, private, internal and external, for them to actually protect So what does it say how they view us? They really see us as hooligans, as people who actually want to hurt other people. So Habib, if he's gonna support such a movement that is entrenched in racism, what does that say about his character as a vice chancellor? My last point, going back to residencies, when we talk about decolonization, I'm not very comfortable that we will just get free education and we will actually end up being led in the university by people who actually still have the very same mindset as the current system. So in residences, you have the head of Res Life, who has been in that seat for approximately, I'm not sure, 32 years, just confirm, 32 years. He has monopoly over every single thing that occurs in residences. Even when your own residence council wants to approve a poster, just a poster, if he's not in the country, we have to wait for Rob Shaman to come back to approve the poster. Even the finances and everything. And what he does, he goes to UK and everything, and he takes the models of the residences there and he brings them here. He tells us what we are supposed to eat in dining halls and what is not acceptable in dining halls. We don't have our normal African cuisines introduced in dining halls at all. So my last point is that the last time we actually had a black residence life, head of residence life, was 32 years ago. The last time. So when we talk about decolonization, I think the university has to now take a stance and say, Mr. Sherman, it's been too long. Please leave us with you.
Thank you very much. On the issue of Adam Habib, he instigated the Bring Back Vets so-called movement. He was behind it. He tweets, he Facebook with them. That's the kind of a leader we have. He engages on Twitter and Facebook, not on the ground. Those 20 Bring Back Vets, he says they are the 77%. That's what he said. And this is the 23. Now you will be the judge. But because this quote didn't come from me, but it speaks to something that I've been thinking about every day. That's the time for Habib Adam in this space has expired. The very same referendum that he used to reach to the 77 so-called percent, the same opinion poll must apply to him when we put him out. Speakers, they are here. This is where we get mandate. Then we run with it. Because we are like servants. Once you are sent, you run and never look back up until you bring back what you were sent. That's what we are. Now, on the issue of dining hall, I eat there. The very same Rob Shaman, he took out soft drinks and he gave us water. Speak the man to Rob Shaman removed soft drinks from our meals and he then put a vending machine right next to the door. If you want Coke, you buy it there, but in the fridge he took it and put water. We drink water like frogs. That's what we see us. Thank you.
But I'm gonna be brief. My name is Bonagele Nchanga from Tlokwe, Potchefstroom. This is personal for me. I'll tell you why. The management had my feelings very, very much so. I registered in this university this year. Thereafter, as I'm self-funding, I went to them, try them and tell them I've got this plan 1, 2, 3, so that I can be able to pay my fees. Allow me to implement 1, 2, 3 here. I will not say what 1, 2, 3 is just because to protect my intellectual property for now. But, yes. Then after that, they took me from pillar to post. I requested to see that Professor Adam Habib, even today, to sell them my problem, and my plan was going to help other 10 students as well. So you can imagine how many students we could have saved, but that it's okay. We are still saying again the point to government. Government, listen to us. There's a Tswana saying that says, Bothala, Bapala, Bozwapalane. Right now we are students, we are your children, we are our parents there. So now listen to us, and besides that, that's why we are in Wits. We are coming, you politicians, they give us problems. We come, we identify the problems and also provide the solutions. Isn't that we did? Exactly. And also by implementing the free education, government must learn that this will get rid of many problems. Firstly, the corruption, the maladministration as well, and other things. And we said there are 72 ministers, cabinet ministers. Those ministers are doing nothing. Maybe as this, we should go and occupy those seats there and leave this country. That's what I think. Thirdly, as I understand, at home, when there's a problem, when the children are crying, the father steps up and comes and listens. But our father, our president of the nation is not here. Our president here, the professor, the VC, or the former, he's not here also. I don't understand what is happening. And I heard like many people, they make reasons about the Bible. You still remember in the Garden of Eden, there was a man called Adam. You see, also, he listens to somebody and he messed up. After so many years, we had an Adam here. And again, he's messing up things. I don't know. It will be shame on you. You're going to be parents tomorrow. If you can name your child Adam, I don't want to know. Never make that mistake. So listen, we are saying to our leaders here, the SRC also, when the prof, they are going one, is bringing the bouncers. Please, we give you the mandate, go and hire the bouncers as well, so that they can fight with those bouncers on our behalf. That's the mandate that we are giving you. Go and hire these people, please. And also, we are saying also, we are confirming the fact that affirming it that the management must support our cause. And as I close here, I want to say to the management, we are watching you, what you are doing. We are not sleeping. We can prove also here that those allegedly petrol bombs that they were put by students, they were not put by students. That we can prove. Also, that 23% that he's talking about the opinion pool, we can prove to you that he manipulated that for the results to be 23%. Also, we know, and we are able to do that. We know about the emails that he sends, the personal emails that he sends to whoever. And we don't mind, we have nothing to lose. We don't mind to publish them for the sake of fun. So they must be careful and they check the ground that they are playing on. We can do this mistake. At the end of the day, Free education, we want it now, not as in yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've been given a mandate to have our own bouncers. Now it will be bouncer to bouncer. Thank you.
Amanda, comrades, I'll be very, very brief, comrades. My message or my call is just to black professionals. I think when this movement started, black professionals at KPMG, at Norton Rose, and wherever big companies in this country were the first to call in at Kaya FM, at Metro FM, and to rubbish this struggle. We don't blame you. It's because you received decolonized education. And it's the reason why when we are calling for decolonized education, you rubbish us. But let me tell you how you can contribute to this movement. How can you contribute to this decolonization? Stop chasing to be an associate at KPMG. Stop chasing to be a partner at Norton Rose. Chase how can you be a lawyer and regain African power? How can you use the skills that you already have to reindustrialize this country? That's how you can contribute to the decolonization agenda. I think the reason why you are doing this and ravishing us and acting as intellects on Metro FM and KFM is because you don't see your role in this. How are we going to decolonize and get the power back? When I as an accountant don't want to be a partner at KPMG, no. See how we can use that money and that skills that you have to regain wealth, to have land acquisition, to have those things, because time is going and time is running out. Thank you very much, ladies. We are too late here. We are too late. Take power. Take power. Amanda. Comrades, we are being led here. You know, when those who only see few faces on TV, this is where we get the mandate. This man, he sits next to me in one of my classes every day, and he tells me a lot of things. That's where I get wisdom. We go in the same class. Thank you.
Amanda. Mine is also brief. My name is Nkateko Machumele, and I'm a teacher. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I acknowledge the pastors, the leadership, the SRC protocol observed, and also the media. But I'd also like to address the media because they say a lot of things. If our parents would watch this, they'd kill us first, you know, because they hear what is said on media. And I'd like them to also extend a letter to Kubulekaya to ask for Utatako Adamabi to come back. That you may come back home and that you may engage with us. And even as we engage, that we also call our perfect wedding. That even as we engage, that we give them two proposals, the internal and the external. That he must listen to our side. Then he must speak out and say whether he is for or against education. Because if we look at ourselves, indeed there is potential in us. South Africa's got talent. But if we continue overlook the resources you have, then go unto people overseas. Whereas it's our money, it is our valuables. And then that you must also engage with our generation. That we will see how these fees must fall. It affects every single matriculant. Indeed, we are going to graduate. Indeed, we are going to write exams. But we must also be careful because this also includes them. And I also give direction to the leadership. As much as you speak about free education, also educate the country as to how you're going to attain it. That model, also tell everyone how we're going to do that because that's what's needed right now. Amen. Very much. We are being led. We are being led. We are being led. Comrades.
Some of us who already have kids, our children are safe in this man's hands. He will decolonize our children. They will be told what they need to be told. And they will be told by the right person to teach it. Because what you are being told matters. And how you are being told. And who is teaching it. Thank you very much. Welcome, Bunekar.
Indeed, we are led. And I actually appreciate, Chair, the Vice Chancellor. The way you called me to order to go back to the queue. I'm a parent. I would like to believe that I would like to believe that I carry the voice of parents, of ordinary parents. I live in Soweto. Yes. As parents, we speak relevantly, right, in the community, because now I would like to believe, I'm saying this with confidence, for the township, look at taxi. The other day, Tatomo was saying, go taxi. And by the way, don't underestimate your parents, guys. By Bala, Sowetan, by the citizens and all this media. They are aware that there's a lot of money that is being wasted. Babu, but that money must educate our children. We do our own polls on Facebook and other social media. You get your intellectuals there, right? The other day, one intellectual lawyer called on 702. It was Chris Vicks standing in what Friday thing, and he said the students must find accountants amongst them and come up with a plan. And Chris Vick said, no, but they have a plan, actually. We almost didn't get here because they were actually marching. They were going to go to Treasury to present a plan. Hey, I hit him hard on Facebook. We are here, still waging the same struggles. What's here for them? It doesn't sit well that we have a black government and we have to be struggling like this with our children. We are led by you guys. I have said it to my friends, to my family and everybody that I'm prepared to subject myself to the leadership of young people. Because these children will liberate us, these children will liberate the country, and they will liberate the continent. And lastly, a friend on Facebook yesterday, last night, we are on these things with actually, when I commended Advocate Mpofu for securing the release of the students from Hillbrow. This doctor friend wrote me, inboxed me, and said, a man said it seems like Wits, by virtue of being Wits. It's in the media, it's in the limelight. And he was glad to learn that the students have been released. But there are students at the Pietermaritzburg, the UKZN, who have been languishing in prison for the past 2 weeks. And apparently the judge has said they are troublemakers, the campus is peaceful without them. So he was saying out of desperation, what can we do to assist? My very, very last point, SABC. We urge our clergy, Bishop, now I take my hat off for this man and the role he played in Parental. It's a pity that my bishop has just left. I would have wanted him to hear just this bit. We came here, we almost didn't, by the way, after the announcement that this thing was cancelled. I came with my minister there, a progressive young minister. And we came with 6 cents just to say, let's go and walk around the lawns of Wits and see what's happening. It just so happened that this assembly came about, and we are glad to have been here, we have been educated. May we request our priests, because they have access most to the majority of our black people, our mothers and fathers gather in those churches. As a lift off, can the message?
Thank you very much, ma'am. You know, we come from Soweto, we can't come here, the two of us, to disagree here. Yes, and you know, these are the parents from Soweto who are streetwise, you know. They Facebook, they will deal with you on Facebook. On the issue of the UKZN 2241, the advocate here with other senior counsel, we are going down to Durban to represent the elected. Comrades, there will be noise, we will make noise. There are lawyers at UKZN. They are advocates at UKZN. But wait until we get there with the advocate and look at the insults all over. You ask yourself, why are the advocates there allowing black bodies to languish in prison? Once we take the advocate and the other senior counsel, because we are taking them there on Monday to take out all those black bodies because they don't belong in prison. They will insult, they will bring EFF, they will bring all useless things just to ridicule a noble cause. I am taking this man with me there. Insult if you want to insult. I have developed the crocodile skin.
This man is an engineer. without having eaten. They are studying here after having slept on the floor in libraries. So what should happen from now on is that these people should have supplementary unconditionally. Whether they qualify or not, they should be granted supplementary. That was my 2 cents. Thank you. Thank you very much. The engineering must be decolonized. The engineering must be decolonized. Process must be decolonized. Structures must be decolonized. 1014 must be decolonized. My answer. The mandate is very clear. Decolonize process. Decolonize structures. Decolonize 1014. We want to colonize civil engineers. We want to colonize mining engineers. We want to colonize electricians. We want to colonize nuclear physicists. We want to colonize mechanical engineers. We want to colonize chemical engineers. We want to colonize metallurgists. Metallurgy. Thank you very much. Comrades, how many people are left here? The number keep on increasing. Comrades, the media and all of you who are in social media, spread the gospel. The advocate and other senior counsels are going to KZN.